flip that one here up there. So we do have the to-do list here as well. Thanks. You're from the superfluid community call, right? That's the freaking to-do list we have here. Oh, great. Great. So I'm not sure, have you ever heard of the fraction token before in some way or form, or? Because if so, then I would just do a quick breakdown. No worries, no worries. It's basically, it's just a, oops, let's file that one down here. So, basically everything revolves around the idea that the total supply is just one. So you can only ever own a fraction of the token, hence the name of the token in there. And the project started like 1.5 years ago on the GnosisChain alone. That was, oops, let's say V1. Yes, so that was the old launch page, where it was basically just that. Oh yeah. The first chain choice is basically because I'm with the Minerva wallet team, and we are also XiChain, or back then it was XiChain, now it's called GnosisChain. We are quite tightly integrated with each other. The Lab 10 is a validator, for example, and also I think Superfluid was the first chain, the first mainnet where it was available was the GnosisChain, as far as I remember. Cheers, by the way. And so the project started in April 2021, and it was like an up and downhill battle. I mean, if you take a look here on CoinGecko, 1 year, let's go for the max, then you can see that there were some really high prices, especially in the first days or so, which was a complete roller coaster. And since then, I've been working on the multi-chain expansion. So the idea is that the total supply should still be one, always, even across the networks. So as you can see here, the original logo is just black and white. That's it. And the new one is a little bit more colorful. So the reason for that is that the color here behind is the exact official color also of the specific network. So the Optimism red is here, this Optimism red. The Binance Gold is here, the Binance Gold, only just with 25%. So that reflects all the time in there. So the important part about the project, it's a DeFi experiment. It has no real life use case. There is no 10 to 1000x promise or something else. I'm sick and tired of these projects who are out there who say, yeah, and we are going to do this with the token, and you can do that later on, and that and whatever, and then they never deliver. So I kind of do it the other way around. I state right up front from the beginning, there's no real life use case. If anyone else comes with something, fine by me, but it's not the projects. I just, for me, it's just a DeFi experiment, and just to build new stuff that we can interconnect with that, and for me also to play around a little bit with that. Could it not be used a bit like an ETF cross chains? Can you explain a little bit more? ETF, I only know the term from the stock market. But since in the meanwhile, while you type, so the token has no real life use case. It's just a DeFi experiment. Exchange traded fund. Exchange traded funds. Cross chains. I'm not sure why exchange traded fund. So the token is listed on an exchange, just on a decentralized exchange, and also on all the others. So I'm not so sure, but maybe the next sections make more sense once you see that. So this here is basically just an introduction that the goal is to split up as much as possible. That the reason is just for fun. An ETF is a collection of funds. So yeah, but then the token would have to be part of another collection, right? So that's basically what a Beehive does, where you bind together different stuff in there. So total fund. No worries. Hey, I mean, it happens so often where I got the things wrong. So if someone's pitching something new or asking a question, there's a good chance that I also don't have the answer there. So it's a progress, I would say, in there. Yeah. Yeah, people try to find a use case. I mean, I do have some specific use case in mind, or that, but I can go into that a little bit later on. But but the important stuff is that the goal for the token is not to get a high price or to get the price up as much as possible. The goal is to split up as much as possible. And I don't care if you have like 0.1 fraction in your wallet or if you have 0.0001 in there. If you have one, then you're part of the gang. Let's call it that. Yeah, it's also a native streamable super token, so no wrapping, unwrapping, and stuff like that, like Miva. And the Monero wallet is, of course, the recommended place to be there. And since then, I think there are 1,400 total fractions so far, and over 200 active streams. These values here, these two are hard-coded at the moment. I still need to get a little bit more into the graph for stuff like that. But that's a calculated one, and that's the current price on CoinGecko as well. So that's how it works. So you can then see on the website that how the token splits up between the different networks. So the majority still is on GnosisChain, but via the connext router you can bridge it to whichever network you prefer. Celo and Ethereum is currently faded out because it didn't launch there yet. But on the others, it's available, and these values here as well are just hard-coded for now. But they do represent sort of the original, the real deal. I think Optimism should be higher now because I bridged yesterday. I think 50 euros worth of fraction to Optimism, but that's big. So if you want to also help splitting up the token, then there are two ways currently. You can either buy it, like any other token. So you say, hey, I have USDC on BNBChain and I want to have fraction on Optimism for example, then you can go here to then it would redirect you to transfer to. The token is listed in there, so you can select it from all the currently available networks in there as well. The good thing is, since that's Li-Fi, you can also see it up here. Let's go for Polygon. As you can see, there's the swap. So if we go here and give in fraction, it's listed here as well. But if you just want to bridge it, then you can also say, okay, I want to fraction in there, then it redirects you to the connext bridge. And come on. Yes, and then everything is already pre-selected in there. And that's more for just direct swaps if you don't want to, because on transfer to or the also you can of course do also the super tokens here as well. So BX on BNBChain, then it would redirect you to the superfluid bridge in here and also pre-fill everything, so you can also bridge your or swap your super tokens in there. Or that's if you want to have more and if you also want to bet a little bit on the price, but again, that's not the goal in here. But what you can also do is use the fraction faucet, which is currently only available on GnosisChain and Polygon, but when the project will go live, then it should be available on all the networks. And if you make a 0 transaction to that contract here, then it opens up a superfluid stream of the last decimal point per fraction per second into your wallet. So you can also see it in there. Also, if you do stream stuff and you use the Monero wallet on Android, you can see the amount counting up or down depending on what you're doing in there. And of course, down the road, there's also the fraction faucet subdomain that you don't have to remember all this stuff or these the contract address. And so then there's the playground, and that's where other projects come in. So if you have any idea what you can use the token for, and if it's a cool idea, then it doesn't have to be useful. It just needs to be a nice or cool idea. Then I will also list projects in here. So one of these are, for example, the Monero streaming farms, which also utilize the fraction or work with the fraction token to some extent, although it's basically made for Miva. So you place liquidity on a DEX, you get the LP token back, you put the LP token in the farm, you get an NFT back, and whoever owns the NFT gets the Miva reward stream for providing that liquidity. And you can, over time, you can level these NFTs up, and with a higher level, you also get a higher streaming rate. So that's, for example, what the streaming farms can do. And the other thing is the fraction timestamp. So that's the project. That's one of my side projects that I want to work on once the website is done. And it basically is I have a contract that only allows an incoming stream from one address, and I open up a stream with the last decimal point, so it counts up 1 every second, and then I make a one-time transaction of the current Unix timestamp in there, and since the stream will count the number up 1 per second, the balance of that contract will always be the Unix timestamp. So, and that I can also then deploy on all the networks in there, so we can figure out if, again, no use case, just a funny idea. And since the project doesn't have any use case, I do want to be as transparent as possible right from the beginning. So that's why I have here these relevant transactions. What's it called? Board? No, chart. And that. Hold on a second. I'll just really quick. Okay. Oh, okay. He's already in there.
Hey, Marcus.
Hey, hello. Let me turn on the camera as well. Hi there.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. It's really good. There's Tamara in the stream chat on Twitch now, so I'm also explaining a little bit the project there as well.
Can you send me the Twitch link?
Yeah, I just sent it to you as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, but it's always the always fraction underlying token.
I googled for Marcus and I googled for Minerva, but I didn't think about googling for fraction token.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let me log in.
So Tamara, there's no GitHub repo so far, but the fraction token itself it's a clone of the Minerva wallet super token, and that one is on GitHub. So okay.
All right.
So let's flip that over there. Okay.
Aha, I'm logged into Twitch after like 6 years.
Okay, cool. So the nice dude you see here on the screen, searching him with the mouse. That's Hugo from the chat. He's from the Peanut protocol, and I will continue explaining the whole project to Tamara Ringus in the end, because then maybe also Hugo will notice a few new things in there.
I'm also happy to ask stuff about how fraction works technically, because I understand the concept, but I've never looked into this. So I'm happy to listen to what you tell Tamara.
Yeah, sure. No, let's start with the Peanut protocol, because then I can also later on tell you where the Peanut protocol will come in on the network-specific subpages. I think that the one sentence was fairly cryptic when I wrote it to you, so it's probably better to do it in person while talking. So I'll open up here the Peanut protocol page, or do you want to share your own screen?
No, you can do it. Also, there's a little update. So your last feedback is now incorporated. So now the token select does actually close when you actually click on a token.
Okay, let's give that a try. Fern. Oh yes, nice. I like that. Yeah, there's some tiny things that that I would improve at some point, but I really like the new stuff that you have the list to select from.
Yeah, it's certainly much nicer. We also working on a new update to have I think like 400 tokens or something that I'm scraping off GitHub. So we'll have those pretty soon. And yeah, now I guess I mean, to introduce Peanut, essentially what Peanut is a way for Tamara is a way to send crypto to your friends with just a link. So actually I'll do one right now and I'll send it in the chat. So if you go to peanut.to, I'll click on send, and essentially what I can do there is if I want to send you $1 in Matic or Minerva token, I can just do that, which is really nice. So I'll do it right now, actually, and I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Good.
Giving money to your viewers.
What are you sending? Are you?
Also Matic, which is I guess the easiest, because I don't have $1 in Minerva. I think I spent that and sent it to you.
Okay, no.
Because you gave me like what, $2 or something, I think. Remember?
Oh, that could
Look.
be. That could be.
So Tamara, I just sent you $1 in Polygon. It's in the chat, so if you click on that, you can claim it. No, it's so right now we're deploying multiple chains, so most EVMs were deployed. We're working on swaps with Axelar. So the idea is, I'll be able to send you one token or one assets on one chain, and then you can claim it on whatever chain you want using a bridge. Essentially, you swap it cross-chain.
Okay, I can also show you the process in here. So you go to the send in here, then I'll select GnosisChain, because I don't also want to send fraction. I connect to whatever. I would, of course, suggest for everyone to use Minerva Wallet and Wallet Connect, but for the sake of streaming, I'm going to do it with MetaMask here. So I'm connecting in here, then we have that. There's no... That would be also nice to have actually to know the current balance.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like Uniswap does that, I think, and MetaMask does it too. Like you can see the current balance.
Yeah, so you can also have this send all in there. Because I actually have no idea how much fraction there is in the in that one account. So, and especially with the small decimal points, it's really a challenge, and it's not, because when we were talking the last time and you said no I still need to fix something, and I said because also watch out for the long decimal points, and you said that's exactly what you're currently fixing there.
That literally. So Tamara, just we had like 6 decimals as a default value for all tokens, but since fraction requires like very little amounts, I added 18. But this was the bug that led to other tokens not working, which is dumb. It was dumb of me to do that, but you know.
Yeah, we that exact same. I think.
Oh, give me 1 second.
Sure.
I need to open the door.
Sure, no problem.
Sorry.
Then I'll take a quick look. And Tamara, no, it's 18. Yeah, it's 18. Like the default. I didn't want to leave the track there, because and I think 18 is plenty out there. So let me take a look. 0.0008. So if I go here and I say I want to send you 0.0000157. Let's do.
Apologies, I'm back.
There is. So then I'll go send the crypto in here.
Lead.
Of course. So it's processing a little bit, and then error reverted.
Oh no.
Does this help you?
This is probably because you don't have. This is because you don't have allowance, but it should have asked you for allowance. It should have. This is because the Peanut contract doesn't have allowance for the fraction token, but it should have asked you for the allowance, which is confusing me. Why it didn't ask you.
Interesting is also because I selected something else, that it might be that there isn't enough fraction in that address, because I just noticed up there that it's the wrong address in there.
Okay. Could also be that, but that should give you a better error message. I guess it doesn't give you the error message because you haven't uploaded the code to Etherscan, maybe. That's why it gives you cryptic error message.
Which code? So
there's two reasons why the execution can be reverted. One, you don't have enough allowance, or two, you don't have enough tokens, right? I think those both of those. But the reason it doesn't actually give you this text as such and gives you this hash is because the code hasn't been uploaded to Etherscan, or not sure why that's the case.
Or null address, perhaps, Tamara says. That could also be, but I guess it was just that I didn't have the funds in there and I just connected with the wrong wallet.
Okay.
Okay, so here and there you also have, Tamara, something to claim. Let's send the fraction. Although it's usually nicer to stream stuff back and forth with the fraction token in there. So if you can do it, then
yeah, with superfluid. Do you see the significant advantage in streaming? So Marcus, sell me on streaming. What do you think are the big use cases? Because I know you talked with Conrad before. I think Conrad is a big opponent of streaming. What do you think are the big use cases of streaming?
I would say one of the biggest plus sides of streaming is anything that you do recurring, that you don't have to trigger that all the time again and again and again, over and over again. What that in the end actually might be is something else to talk about. I know that Superfluid themselves, they focus quite heavily on automated payrolls, so that if you're a DAO or something and you pay your staff, then right now you would have to do these transactions every month manually. You each buy everything, and with Superfluid you can automate that right away.
Right, you're kind of pushing the responsibility to the payee, the employee, I guess. So because he has to claim.
No. You don't have to claim there. It's no.
How does that work?
It's basically you open up a one transaction opens up a stream, and then it streams as long as it's open. There's no additional transactions needed.
How does the stream work technically? Because if I have a stream of ETH, for example, right? How am I getting this ETH in my wallet account?
So I'm not super deep in the technical part in there. I can introduce you to the folks who do know that stuff. But basically, for every normal token in there, you wrap that. So for example, you make for Matic, you make Matic X in there, and Matic X is then the streamable version of the Matic, for example. So,
okay. So wrap it in a token.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the first thing you need to do, so you can actually utilize the Superfluid protocol. There's the MIVA and the fraction token, for example. These are native streamable super tokens. They don't have an underlying token in there, so there's no need for wrapping, unwrapping, and stuff like that. So that's the first thing. And then the other stuff is Docs, Superfluid Finance. So I'm not sure if I can actually answer the technical question you might have in there. But
this is a good starting point. I think I should look into Superfluid anyways. I guess additional question there is, so if I am the payer, can I always issue? So I need to have those funds in my account right before I issue the stream. So if I do a stream, so I guess how does that work? If I want to pay my employee for 12 months and I want to pay them 1,000 USDT a month or whatever token, and I only have 2K USDT right now.
Doesn't matter.
Does that work, or how does that work?
Yeah, it works. It works. The only thing you need to do, you need to have upfront is called a buffer, and that's worth of by default 4 hours of the stream value. So if I'm streaming you 100 USDC per hour, then the buffer would be 400 USDC, for example. And that's because if your wallet goes insolvent, then someone else needs to close the stream for you. Otherwise, there would be still coming stuff into the other side. And those are the Superfluid Sentinels. and they are responsible to actually liquidate insolvent streams, and for doing that they get the buffer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But what you can have is a lot of incoming and outgoing streams. So as long as your net flow rate is positive, you can stream out as long as so you don't need to stake them somewhere or lock the funds somewhere in a contract. And also you only because Tamara also said that it saves a bunch of gas, because you only need to pay the gas fees when you open up a stream or when you close it, or if you make changes to the flow rate. Besides that, no gas to be paid.
That's pretty interesting, because then, I guess when for example, I can start working at a company and only have to pay gas once instead of 12 times, I suppose. So I guess that makes sense. Like 12 times a year. That's cool. That's really cool. I didn't think of that.
So, for example, as you can see here, that's the same address on different networks in there, and there are a bunch of streams that are going out there, and each token can also have multiple streams in there. So as long as there's more coming in than coming out, you're basically good to go, and you don't need to lock the whole funds for whatever you want to in there.
It's really cool to see those numbers like move that fast in real time, because I feel like I associate blockchain stuff with like very static things that only update, maybe once a block, or like once every
absolutely,
like, whatever every day. So it's kind of neat to see stuff move.
I think that's what most people catch on then right away. And it's also like, I think one of the biggest challenges that Superfluid has is it needs to get into the people's minds so that they start thinking in streams in there, because right now it's like this abstract new thing that they can't really wrap their head around. And it's too complex to fully understand the possibilities and everything in there. And once that goes more mainstream, then it's like it's going to kickstart like right away.
Right.
I would say.
But I don't think that's an easy problem to solve, because I don't know much about this, but I know there's been in the past a few Web2 startups that try to do streaming in like fiat streaming, especially for employment and payrolls, and I think all of those failed. I think primarily because of this problem, because people don't really understand or don't deal with payments and streams. Like, people pay rent monthly, people pay the heating bill maybe monthly or every quarter, stuff like that. So I think that's a big hurdle, like convincing people to think in streams instead of more traditional discrete payments.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people already do have the fundamentals for that. You need to understand the streaming stuff in there. And if you have one or two examples so they can wrap their head around, then it starts to make sense. And for example, I do like the example I found out clicked the most with other people is the parking ticket. Even though that's like not in the very near future kind of stuff, but you have in your electric car, it has its own wallet, can pay for its own parking ticket, for example. And if you go to a parking slot, it opens up a stream. And as long as you stand there, the car pays itself for the parking and everything. And as soon as you drive off, the stream automatically closes, and you don't have to worry for parking stuff at all.
Right.
Anymore.
You could even use the the GPUs on a Tesla to mine whatever cryptocurrency is while you park there or something.
Yeah, maybe even that. Or what I like the most, the idea is you have automatic cars who are driving on the highway, and since all of them are driving automatically, they can like drive very close to each other. So the car in the front has to come up with the highest amount of energy to battle the wind and everything. So if you have this train of autonomous cars in there, then the cars in the back could pay the car in the front for driving in the front, because it needs more energy. Stuff like that.
I think that's a conceptually cool example, but that feels very. I understand it, but it feels like very, very future.
Yeah, of
It's a
course.
good idea.
It's I think that's like this super futuristic ideas that tells people where this could lead at some point. Because in the end, we are kind of used to do all these payments. The normal person tend to do all these payments manually, like go to the bank or log into your bank account and then make a transaction, stuff like that. And I think in the next few centuries, in the next few decades or so, there's going to be so much happening in the background where automated or like this sharing cost stuff that you pay something and in the background it splits up automatically to other people involved doing licensing stuff and streaming. So there's, I think that's going to be
and,
like
and I think as a society we've also moved a lot towards more like subscription services and stuff. I mean, to give you an example, I have this. I don't know if you can see this little wearable here, this watch. I was really surprised because I'm trying to be more health conscious, and I bought this thing, and I was really surprised that it's not. You don't pay once for it, you pay monthly for it. So I have this wallet, this watch, but essentially, if I stop paying for it monthly, it's useless. I have to pay $30 a month as a subscription fee for it, which kind of feels really weird. But at the same time, I like to think a lot of in incentives, and I think incentive-wise, it is kind of nice because it aligns the company that sells these things to actually support it long term and keep improving the software and keep improving the tech, so that people keep staying subscribed in a way. So I don't think a subscription model is appropriate for everything, but I think in some cases the incentives can align, and I'm very happy with the product itself. It's kind of the health thing that keeps my sleep, whatever. But I think my point is, I think subscriptions are becoming more and more common, and I think this aligns well with superfluid.
Yeah, I would say. And the Tamara says we're used to sub fees. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. I mean, I do think there's one thing I try to be upfront all the time is that there's hardly ever anything that's black and white. So you can always find negative parts on subscription models or software as a service or whatever you want to call it, and the other way around. For example, the Adobe Creative Cloud, it's you can't buy it anymore. It's only subscription only, and it costs me 50 euros per month, for example.
Right.
And yeah, if I stop paying, I can't use it anymore. That's true, and that's a negative stuff. I would put it on the negative side. But on the other hand, over the part of a year, the Adobe Creative Cloud just cost me 700 euros, 600 or 700 euros. If I
360, no, 30 times 12, 360. You said 30, no?
No, 60.
60.
But I'm not sure with or without taxes, so don't kill me. But let's say 700 euros.
It's an expensive piece of software, but it's very powerful, and I think specifically now, I mean, I'm sure you know of like Stable Diffusion and all these generative AI models. I think I've seen a lot of these startups pop up that are trying to integrate photo editing with AI stuff, and I think this is very exciting. And I guess the really killer app is having this. I mean, the brush tool in Photoshop. You know much more about Photoshop than me, but like imagine like you can just change stuff with AI that in a seamless way. That's extremely cool.
Oh, you can do that already with the Photoshop.
There's some integrations, and I guess what I'm saying is like what you're paying for there is like for them to develop new stuff like this and keep improving and keep adding these new features like AI generative models, whatever, into the Photoshop application.
Because you can let's put this one here up. So there's the Adobe Zen. Is it called Zen? I think so. Landscape. Let's look up here. And one of the first things that I actually used that's AI assisted is here in Photoshop. If you have this picture here, and you want to crop it, or basically crop more than there's actually, then you could enable that the AI tries to figure out how it looks
amazing.
Like. So if I extend it,
outpainting,
yeah. So that's now, you see, that extension here and here, that's completely AI generated, and it's not perfect. It still doubled the house here, but that's the stuff you can do then later on with your normal stuff. And then it's gone.
Okay. So what I'm seeing here, this is definitely not stable diffusion. So for example, this is a relative primitive generative AI model, but as you can see, it's very repetitive.
Yeah. You can see
really
the models
cool,
down here. But as you can see here, it's not repetitive. You see? I mean, it does repeat itself here.
Okay. So there's much better. Okay.
It still has its limits. But there is UI or AI guided stuff in the Adobe Creative Cloud already in there. And I would say AI only will not help us. It will not be that I talk for 50 minutes and describe the fraction token project. And then I say, hey, AI, now you know everything I want to have achieved. Now write the code and tell me when you're done. That's certainly not going to happen.
Definitely not. Tamara has a cool thought in chat. So Tamara, and I guess to you, Marcus, too. So my background before I got into blockchain was a lot in AI. So I did a lot of, especially natural language processing, NLP. And then I kind of switched to blockchain. And what I tried to do initially was trying to see the intersections of AI and blockchain, and I still am very interested in those. So do you guys see any use cases or like problems we can solve with AI and blockchain? Because I think that there's a big conflict in there, in the sense that blockchain is usually quite decentralized, right? AI is a little bit the opposite. AI is very centralizing. So usually what happens in AI is the biggest players with the most machine compute and most data reap the biggest rewards, and you have this like very centralizing effect. And so I guess my question is, do you guys see any use cases that intersect there, or any promising avenues?
That's interesting. I mean, I personally, the only thing what I could come up with is arbitrage stuff, I think for most of the other things, it's, I mean, I certainly do. That's something we are looking into with the Monero wallet. There's Go Plus Labs. And what they're doing is they make security assessments of tokens and NFTs and stuff like that. So they look at the code, and if there's any malicious stuff in there. For example, we all know these tokens with 100% transfer costs in there, so you can never actually reclaim them because the fee would have to pay to move them is stuff and shit like that. And I think
that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, and I think AI could really help understanding the token contracts in there to give a better risk assessment for everyone.
Right. So like an AI auditor in a way, I guess is what you're talking about.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. That would make sense. I think that's pretty fair. I think another thing I just thought of, because there's a company I heard once that did something similar. So one thing that would be really cool to do is, sometimes your contract can get, if you have vulnerability in your contract that you know about, it can get drained, like you can get, a bridge can get hacked or whatever. One thing you could have that would be really cool to have would be like AI protection. So what would you do? So there's a thing called in AI called anomaly detection. So you can like detect very anomalous transactions. For example, an anomalous transaction would be the one that drains entire smart contract, right? Because it does something very weird. Because that's what a hacked transaction would be. It would be like a transaction does something very weird. And if you could have like this module in your smart contract, like, hey, we'll stop any anomalous transactions. And you need a little bit of AI to do this, obviously. That'd be really cool. I guess that the biggest problem here would be to be able to run AI on chain, which is obviously infeasible. But as Samara suggests, we could have it like run off chain, and then it gives a ZK proof that the transaction is okay, and then this ZK proof gets verified in the smart contract, which is relatively cheap. And that way, you have anomaly detection in your smart contract, and you're kind of protected from hacks, I guess, with AI. I think that's a pretty good idea.
The question is, what do you do if the AI goes rogue and then sort of shuts down any transaction because it just basically declares it goes this kindness approach and says every human interaction is marked as not okay?
I think that wouldn't be a problem because you could update the AI server, because I think the AI server is just, so the way this would work, the AI would just act as a shield in a case, right? It would just say some transactions should not go through, right? Because we think those are hacks or whatever. And if if it's being overprotective or whatever, then you can just update it. And it's not like you're not making it trustless because it's just it's you're not making it trusted because it's just like this protection thingy, I think.
So, just said try catches just like yeah. That's
just a lot of it.
Isn't one of the biggest problems with the AI that we already have is that we don't really understand anymore how they actually function and write their own code? I just remember I remember just something from, it's probably 5 years ago or so, where they said that there's a Google AI who's optimizing their search algorithm, the code for the algo, and the AI came up with improvements to that code that the normal human engineers can't really figure out why or how that works, or what the benefit. They could verify that there is some improvement, but they don't really know where it came from or something like that. And I think at that point,
that's absolutely a problem. So interpretability is absolutely a problem in AI, especially as models get more and more complex. Like I mean, you look at the large language models that we have nowadays, like GPT and ChatGPT and all those other ones. No one knows why the model does something, and it's very much a black box, and it's only going to get much blacker. So it's somewhat concerning, yes. And the problem there is that these models, I mean, if you use ChatGPT, you've seen it's useful. It's a thing that's actually useful. And in 2-3 years, we will, and corporations will, make use of these models because they're very useful. But if something goes wrong, and things will go wrong, you'll be like, okay, why did this go wrong? No one knows. It will be a future where, I don't know, kind of, there's a lot of dystopic stories about the government machine and whatever. Lots of science fiction. I find those very compelling, and I think that's kind of the future we're moving into. And we'll have like machines doing stuff, and like you'll get banned. You make an appeal. Why did I get banned? No one knows. The AI just said you were banned. That's it.
To some extent, seeing a world where an AI can go rogue will imply that the world as we currently know it will continue to exist. So that's the positive aspect I see about AIs going rogue, because right now, with the ice caps melting and the climate is going off the rails, who knows if in 10 to 20 years the question is, hey, how do I get food on my table, and not which prompt should I give an AI to create a fancy photo for me or something.
I completely agree. There's a website that we like called Metaculous. I made a Twitter bot last week. He works with GPT, and it's really fun. He just answers people on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I saw that, the robotic Hugo, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a nice idea.
I feel a little bit bad because I feel so. I think I'll stop him soon because I feel some people. I tried to, he's called Hugo bot, but I feel some people think he's real, so I feel bad about that.
Yeah, but he answers based on your previous responses, right?
He answers only on the. So I didn't give him that much context. He only answers based off on the tweet. So he doesn't take in that previous context. He could.
But the model you trained him on is based on your own previous tweets right now.
No,
right?
I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it, but I didn't fine tune him. So in the end, the only way he works is I describe myself and I give. So it's just prompt. I didn't fine tune him. I was gonna, but I did it in like literally 2.5 hours. So I didn't have time to fine tune him, and I was gonna do it like this weekend, but I'm traveling, so I can't do it. But anyways, what I was gonna say.
But he can't learn, right?
No, right now he's not set up to learn. I am getting the responses, so I could fine tune him on his own responses and make him learn. Yes, and so in the way the tweets that are good, he'll make more like those, and I could do it. Yes, so I'm recording the data, so he might be able to do that.
Yeah, but we all know the Microsoft AI that they let loose on Twitter, right? You remember?
Sorry?
There was that went completely Nazi and anti-Semitic because 4chan spammed
How was she called? That was so funny. That was so funny. I love that.
I don't know the name anymore.
I don't know, Jenna or something. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that could be.
It was something like that, or something with T. It was so funny because
Tay. THA, the Taybot. Yeah, and Microsoft.
Hey, you're right.
After 16 hours, they had to take her off.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the good thing is, actually, I do. I'm not a fan of this abusive behavior that people put on Twitter and out on social media to each other. I think everybody we would be way better off if we would have discussions with respect and keep everybody safe. But in this specific part, I am kind of on the 4chan guys because you put something out there and as a software developer, you try to break stuff. That's what makes 100%. It take to some extent. And if someone puts something like that out in the wild with no railguards or something else, what do you expect what's going to happen? You don't want to sit still and don't touch it because you would think, oh yeah, now they know, okay, yeah, so it's not a big deal. Now we go on with the next step. And then the implications are way worse in there. So
I completely agree, and that's also kind of the reason why I like blockchain so much, because essentially it's a huge grant program with there's a huge please hack me sign everywhere, and everything all the time is up there, and that's why we can trust it. It's out there. There's millions and billions of incentive to hack it, and it's secure apparently because no one's hacking it. So that's I think that's the success case of this. And obviously something like the bot was very, very fragile because in 16 hours it got essentially hacked or perverted, which showed that it was not.
Tamara asked if have you read System Error? I haven't.
I have not either. I'm going to Google it.
System Error. Also, I do. Oh wait, I think I heard something about the movie. Could it be that they made a movie out of that? But I also have to admit that I'm notoriously not finishing reading books. So I would say in 90% of all the books I have here in my shelf, there's the bookmark in the first third of the book.
Are they are these fiction or non-fiction books?
I would say 70% are non-fiction books.
Okay, I think one problem I have a lot with non-fiction books. I usually, when I read fiction books, I love them and I read them. The problem I have with non-fiction books, a lot of them could be an article, especially those self-help books and stuff like that. They just drag things out way too much, like way too much. And so I can very much empathize with the just not finishing them, because read 1/3 and it just takes so long to get to the point. It feels like fluff.
Wow. No, I do have like most of these books here. I do know they are super amazing and they are absolutely interesting to read. But then I start reading them, then something else comes up, then I forget half of what I read already. And then I'm in this limbo of, do I really want to read again what I already read? And so I just place it in there and then hope for the big blackout where there's no computers, no smartphone, where I'm just down with books in there, and then I'm going to catch on with them again. So that's.
I think it was I don't know who does this. I think John Carmack is the guy that like once a year he goes like 1 week with no internet or something, and then he like takes his books and whatever and just focuses on something. I don't know if John Carmack did that or not. I don't know who did that, but maybe try that.
That might be something I'll do in October.
Rent a cabin in the Alps or the whatever you want, and
in the Alps. I'm from the Alps, so
that's why I said
just go somewhere up the mountain. Then you can still take your phone with you because the reception is super bad, so you will be offline anyways.
Yes.
So,
can I ask what's the red thing behind you? I'm very curious. On your left.
This one here.
Yes. What is that?
That's.
Oh! I thought it was in the background. I thought it was like a giant like heater or something.
No. It's a microphone, and you can wait. So, if I tap it down here.
Yeah. Oh,
we can tap up here,
very neat.
And here on top there's the increase and decrease of everything, and it's also here. The headphones I have in here are there as well, so it's also an audio device for the system, so I can hear myself talk, so I know exactly that I'm not too loud and everything else.
That is very fancy. I thought the perspective, I don't know if Tamara had the same thing, but the perspective I had, I thought it was in the background, and I thought it was like this 2 meter tall like heater or something.
Yeah, maybe that's.
Or like it looked like a boxing.
Yeah, it's also the hive where I keep the souls of my enemies.
That's where the light comes from, right?
Yeah, and now they're all dead.
all the bankers.
Yeah.
You thought it was a bookcase.
Yeah. So the Peanut protocol. I saw that you also integrated the dashboard recently, which is super helpful, super nice.
Yes.
In there.
Because we did get a lot of complaints of people. What if I close the? It's a valid concern. So now we just save them in local storage, and now you have your nice dashboard where you can click and copy the links that you created before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like super helpful. Although I'm not sure how I could get the link here, but maybe that's just something from the testing period.
No. In this case, so what are you trying to do? You're trying to get the claim, this one? Yeah. So in this case, when did you do, I can't see it. When did you do that transfer? 17th of January.
Yeah.
So 2 days ago. Did you do it on this device? On this computer? This
Could be.
So the way, right now, they're stored in local storage. So if you're not on the same browser or the same device, you won't have that.
Okay. We talked about that, about the privacy concerns and the encryption. So right now you're just storing it in the local storage here, right?
Yeah. I mean, we could store them server side, but then we kind of like keeping custody of those. With the other thing we can do is encrypt them, but I think that requires asking the user to encrypt them and asking them to decrypt them. So we'll have it down the line that we can have a like cloud sync, but for now it's just in local storage.
There's the deposits.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, local storage, deposit, that's where you should have it.
Cool. Yeah,
The
that's
newest
like
one.
super duper helpful. But I mean, it basically never stops there. If you think about then later on, then the next thing is, hey, yeah, but wouldn't it be nice if I can also get a notification if something gets can I if I connected the wallet with it anyways, can I get the push protocol message so that the notification happens on chain and everything. So
we are actually, now you talk about push protocol, I need to look into them, because we're looking into Twilio. So one thing we want to do is have multi-factor authentication links. So essentially, the idea is, you send a link. Let's say we want to send the link to Tamara. Tamara gives us her email, or you have Tamara's email or whatever, or her Twitter or something. Then we use Twilio. So you go to Peanut, you click send link, and then you input her Twitter or her email or whatever you want. You create the link, and then you give her the link, and then she gets a notification through Twilio. So then the private key is composed from the link key and the key that goes through Twilio, and so she actually needs to prove that she has ownership of both the email and the link, essentially. So it will be, you could have 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, how many secret parts you want. You can have those, and if you want to have a big transfer, 10k, 100k or something, you probably want them to prove that they have ownership of your various secrets, and that way it's a very secure link, essentially. That's what we're looking into building right now. So that's what we're doing.
Have you also thought about having basically the opposite side of a Gnosis safe, where you there are multiple accounts that need to sign something that you can send funds to another address, so that you can also have this shared Peanut link, and only if 5 accounts claim it, then it gets paid out to the one address, or have a.
That's very interesting. Do you see a use case? This is
no, I don't see any use case in that. But I just try to come up with stupid stuff. I mean, that's also why I'm working on the fraction token, because not everything needs to have a real use case.
I think that's a very good idea. It's definitely possible. I guess I would look for use cases for that before implementing it. But
yeah, most likely
there might be a use case for it. I guess for us right now, we're a little bit at the stage where we're trying to talk a lot with users and see how what can we do to add value. So things on the horizon. So the multi-factor links. Then we also have in cross-chain swaps that we're working on. Privacy is a thing a lot of people are concerned about. So those are, I guess, the steps right now we're thinking of. We're also thinking a lot of onboarding. So when you send a link to someone who doesn't have a wallet yet, like your friend or something like that, then there's 2 things that we are doing there. One is we're looking at a fiat off ramp. So those, it's kind of being a little slow, but if you want to claim a link in your bank account as in fiat, then hopefully we'll have that relatively soon. The other thing is we could also set up a wallet for you, so have some kind of account abstraction wallet. There's a bunch of solutions for that right now. So that's another thing we're looking at. So we're kind of trying to prioritize a bunch of different directions.
I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, sure. So I'm now the owner of the stream.
Okay, I'm already back. I'll just.
Never mind.
Got a new one.
I was telling the stream viewers that I now.
Account abstraction wallet, very cool. Yeah, actually, we at the Monero wallet, we do plan on building a wallet that has the account abstraction. So it should be based on the Gnosis safes. Down the road, because right now the Monero wallet, it's a non-custodial wallet where you need to make sure that you have your seed phrase stored safely, that you have all the other stuff going on there. And the account of the old wallet, that's the simpler one. It's a contract wallet where we can also abstract away the accounts and so much other stuff. So basically, people, you won't get the mass adoption of the crypto space if people still need to figure out what the hell gas fees are.
100%. If people have to care about their own their own key, like no one, like it's crazy that people like I need to take care of their key. I know it's like, you know, not your key, not your wallet, whatever, but like I think it makes much more sense to derive a key from, like, you know, your social logins, for example, or like MFA or something, than keeping it as a plain text somewhere, even if it's, you know, safe in your home. Like that's, I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's great that you can go off the grid, and I think still these non-custodial wallets do have a purpose, especially for people who know what they're doing. And I'm telling that in quotes on purpose. But the majority of the people, they do want to have this security and also the safety of they are used to by a bank. You know, they go there, they place their money in there. They do know that, yeah, it might be shady or something else, or you can't trust the bankers, or I don't like them. But in the end, if I go there and I want to have my money back, then I get the money I want to have. And if I lose everything, if my house burns down and everything, I still can go there and say, hey, this one and that one, I take my passport with me, or however I can get, and then I get back access to my funds. And that's one of the big problems that's in crypto. Yeah, you can go off the grid and everything, but there's also the problem that you lose everything, and since there's no solution for that in place, that's going to hold the whole system back, I would say.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, but I think a counter-structure is very, very promising here because of two things. One, well, social recovery, right? So in a scenario like that, you know, right now, if you have a self-custodial wallet, you probably have your key backed up somewhere. But again, you can lose that, whatever. So social recovery is something that's really cool. You know, maybe you have your key on 5 friends, and your friends all need to verify, sign on chain that you should get access back, whatever. That's really cool for that thing. But I think more specifically interesting, I think is being able to derive a crypto account from existing, like for example, your Gmail account or your Twitter account, or, you know, Gmail plus your Google Authenticator. I think stuff like that is much more is very, very interesting for the casual user, because then they just log in with, you know, 3 of their socials, and then they have their wallet. And I think that's much more secure. And, you know, a robber can't go to you and be like, hey, give me your seed phrase, because you don't know it. It's just derived from those things, and it's an aggregate. So I think that's much more promising and much more secure for the average user than what we have right now with the, you know, some 20 character string or 12 words or whatever that you need to like keep secure, or else you lose all your funds.
I think it's kind of hard to figure out what actually works with mass adoption, because the folks who are actually building the stuff right now are kind of privacy concerned, I would say. They are these developers who know what's technically possible, so they try to avoid everything, and that actually holds a lot of things back, I would say. And I'm completely one of them. I do tend to think too complicated about stuff. For example, there's this one contract wallet, we also looked at it, and they ask for your phone number, which is basically a no-no for me. But then I put in there some phone number from the testing phones in there, so it's not my original, just to take a look at the wallet. Then I said, yeah, okay, now we have your phone number. Now also give us your email address. And when that was over, then they said, yeah, now we also want to have access to your Google, what's the cloud service? Google Drive in there, because they are storing the backup key encrypted on your Google Drive in there. And I do get that it makes sense, and I do get that quite a lot of people say, yeah, you know, what the fuck, I don't care because I already use that anyways for stuff like that. But for me, as a developer, that's like so many red flags. I would never use that.
That's a lot of red flags, especially in crypto, giving them access to your Google Drive. Oof.
I think it's just I mean, they are trustworthy developers, I would say, and you could trust them, and on the other hand, it could be that that's exactly what the mainstream users want to do, because they trust Google, they trust Apple and Amazon and everyone with their cloud services. And I think that's also where these two worlds start to collide to some extent.
Yeah.
Cool.
By the way, Marcus, I'll have to leave in about 3 minutes.
Okay, then I'll do a very, very, very quick rundown of the project. So,
Sure.
The most important thing that there are two things that are important to know. One is that the total token supply is 1, even across chains. Whoops.
I know you've explained this like 10,000 times, but I haven't heard it. Can you give a super brief rundown how you ensure that the supply stays 1?
The account, the amount stays 1 because there's the token got minted with just 1 total supply in there. So
okay, but what I don't understand is, so you deploy it on Gnosis, then it has a supply of 1.
Yeah.
But then you also are going to deploy it on, let's say, Polygon.
Yeah.
But then what do? You got to burn the tokens of Gnosis, correct?
No, that's where the connext router comes in, because usually the bridges work like that. You place something in on one, you burn it on one side, and it gets created on the new side there. But for the fraction token, we can't do that, or for the MIVA token, because then if the bridge contract would create the token, it wouldn't be a native super token anymore, so you wouldn't be able to stream it anymore. Mm-hmm. That's why there's the connext router, and it works like that. You I mint the whole 1 token then again on Polygon and place the whole 1 token in the router. So that one is locked in there as well. So if I send 0.01 on the GnosisChain in there, it releases 0.01 on Polygon.
Okay.
And the same for all the others. So the total supply is for each. So if I go here to Optimism, then there's also the max supply is just 1. But the majority of that, if I see here at holders, then you see that the X-Pollinate Transaction Manager, that's the connext router, that currently holds 79.78% of the token. And the rest is out there in the wild for users.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a pretty nice approach. I like it.
So that's one. The total supply is 1 across the networks, across all networks, and that's always. And the second most important stuff is that the token has no real life use case. That it's
I've heard that.
Yeah.
That's what I heard when it joins in.
Yeah, it's a DeFi experiment. There are no promises about 10x, 100x, or that the token can do this and that and give you something like that. That's not what I'm in there. Others can do that, but not for me.
What's the current market cap of the fraction, the $1, the 1 fraction?
So right now the fraction token price is at $24,000.
Okay,
that's what it's currently on CoinGecko in there, and it all started by
wait. So you're telling me 1 fraction is worth more than 1 Bitcoin?
Yeah, and that's since 1.5 years ago. So I surpassed.
That's pretty cool.
Even the all-time high was higher.
Is fraction then the most valuable token on a per token basis?
It was the highest valued token listed on CoinGecko. Yes, at some point, because the highest price was $360,000 for 1 token.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also the market cap, so that's you have to say that too in there. But
you don't have to say that. You can.
That's one of the important stuff. Is I want to be as honest and transparent upfront as possible.
Exactly.
So I don't want to have any shit talk or promises or this shilling stuff. So that's what I'm. That's also why there's here this relevant transactions chart where I show what the project did with the token itself. So you can see, okay, here it got minted. So there was 1 on the XDAI. Then half of that got placed into the Honeyswap liquidity pool. 0.5, the half of the fraction token, together with 1,000 XDAI. So the token price was then $2,000. And from that on, everything turned. So, and there you can see, oh, okay, I provided that. I got the Uni V2 back. And you can see that here on the transactions, you can see that I never moved that liquidity token. So it's in there since 1.5 years ago. And that's for every transaction that the project did themselves. So providing liquidity, bridging stuff, moving it in and out or something like that. It's always super transparent and upfront so that everyone can look it up without doing all the research themselves.
That's really cool. Marcus, question: Are you mostly a front-end developer, or?
Yes.
Because I'm seeing. I think the what's your approach with like making the website? Because like I think all the animations and stuff is pretty impressive. It's really cool.
The whole website, it's plain HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and SVGs.
Wow.
So
you don't use any framework or anything like that?
No, I mean there's a jQuery library in there too, and a library for the slider in there, but the rest is plain stuff. Usually I do work with content management systems previously or something like that, but for the fraction token, since I want to build it everything on stream, live on Twitch, it's more straightforward to do it manually, step by step.
How many dev hours in total would you estimate this was?
So right now we are on stream number 20, and each stream is between 2 and 3 hours, and I would say probably the same amount off stream as well. Okay. So 150 hours, 150 hours or something like that.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. It's really cool.
That's
yeah. Okay, and last question before I go. I saw Steam notification. Which games do you play? What's your most played game?
The most played game I play is
the top 3. What are you enjoying right now?
Is the most played game I'm playing is Pavlov. It's Counter-Strike in virtual reality.
I know it.
And there's the virtual.
We're actually me and Connor are gonna buy VR glasses now. Okay, do you have any recommendations? We're gonna buy the MetaQuest VR2.
Okay.
But do you have any recommendations? Or do you have any opinions on VR glasses? Which are those?
That's the Valve Index. But I started playing with the Oculus Rift, and I also have the Rift, the Quest 1 in here, and some others as well. But I would say from the headset itself is the Quest. The Valve Index is super nice, but the controllers are not really mine, I would say. And
so what would your recommendation be? Do you think the MetaQuest V2 is fine? Do you think Index, we should go for Index for HTC or what?
Actually, if you so I basically stopped playing any other game, and I'm just playing Pavlov for like 1.5 years or so. So if
have you played the monkey game where like
sure, Gorilla Tag, sure. And I also played quite a lot of The Climb. It's a climbing game by Crytek, like this huge in there. And I think I also at some point I had like a world record on one road to some extent because you just dive in so heavily. But once I come back, because I played like a lot of Counter-Strike when I was in my teenager years, and Pavlov is basically Counter-Strike. It's basically Counter-Strike.
What was your highest rank?
In
CS:GO?
I actually.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, you play. Okay, sorry. I guess I'm too young.
No, I played it on LAN parties. You know, where you carry your CRT and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're an OG. Sorry for assuming.
And so since I came back to Pavlov, I basically stuck with that, and I just play Pavlov in there. And if you want to watch there, there's the season 11 will start in, I think, 2 weeks or so. And there's also a Twitch account.
Well, send me a link when it starts. I'll be happy to check it out. So also, once we get a quest, I'll definitely, when I play Pavlov, I'll try it.
That's because that's the Twitch channel where I stream the league matches in there.
That's really cool. Do you play? But do you set up matches with other people? Or do you stream the ones that you watch and then you like comment on them?
No. There's the Virtual Reality Masters League, the VRML.
Got it.
And there are there's the standings, and so you can see that there's a North America League and then the Europe League. And in Europe, when the new season starts, then these teams clash together. Like, it's an esports league.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you when I have Pavlov. Let's see if we can play a game or something.
Yeah. Sure. Just to really quick introduce in here, there are the relevant transactions. There's the shoutout. There's also the peanut already. And the NFTs, which is another thing. There's the roadmap.
Hey, that's us. That's so cool.
There's the DAO, and I would like to have them, because that's the start page that explains the whole thing. But each network will get a network specific subpage. So if you go to the GnosisChain, then you have the subpage GnosisChain, and that should show you the current amount on the GnosisChain and all the projects or everything that sort of builds on top of it, which is available on that. So, for example,
when did you launch Fraction, Marcus?
On the GnosisChain, it launched on April 20th, 2021.
Okay, 2021. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 1.5 years, a little bit more.
I'm surprised this didn't get a lot of speculative attention from the bull market in 2021.
Oh, when it launched, the highest price was $481,000.
Jesus.
And it stayed at, I think, 60 or 70K for like a year or so during the bull market. So that's, and now for like half a year or so, I'm working on this multi-chain expansion to have it on the other chains and to have this interconnection in here. And I'm aiming at the release on April 20th, 2023. So exactly 2 years after that. That's the launch in there. And what I really would like to have is if Peanut makes it also possible to set up streams. And Superfluid today showed off in their community call the schedule that you can say open a stream on that day and close it on that day. So when that is in place, that would be super great for Peanut, so that I can say I want to stream to you 0.111245 fraction over over the period of 1 month, for example. And then you have the claiming link and you claim it, and at that point the stream actually starts. And I think that could open up, not exactly for the fraction token, but it could be a playground in the beginning. But then later on, that people sort of have these gift cards in there with the claimable link. And when you redeem it, then it opens up the stream. And I would see that could be so powerful for both Fraction and the Peanut protocol. And I would like to have this section then on the GnosisChain subpages, so everywhere else that you can, like for example here, you have this swap box, so you can say I have USDC on Optimism and I want Fraction on Polygon. Then it takes you to transfer to, and that fills out everything for you. And I kind of do want to have something like that also for Peanut, so that I can say on this, I want to send blah, 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 blah to on this network, and I want to pay it with this and that, or whatever the parameters you have in there. And that redirects you to the send screen with everything pre-filled, and then you do your thing on the peanut side in there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think we'll have to look at that. I have to look at how superfluid works on the hood, because I'm assuming this will require a smart contract upgrade, I guess. So I'll have to look at that, but it sounds promising. I guess my question would be like how big the use case for streaming is right now, because I mean we do have like a lot of priorities. It would be like how many people use streaming right now, or like in the future. I think if we do this, we probably will, because I think it makes a lot of sense. Probably in a 2-month timeline, so like after we do swaps and fiat off ramp, and maybe privacy. So that might be. By the way, you ideally you would have streams that are private. By the way, so the way that would work is you send this link to someone, and they claim it, and then the stream starts, but you don't know who it comes from. Although I don't know if that would work with superfluid. Honestly, probably not. But with normal transfers, it would.
But
So at some point we'll have privacy, which would be cool.
Wouldn't actually like a private stream make it more privacy friendly to some extent? Because if I would send you a fraction amount in there, and I send you 0.015234568709 fraction, then I can look on the blockchain who claimed exactly that amount, and so I know your address in there.
Right. That's true. So yeah, of course, that's something you can do. But ideally, what you do, you would have some kind of cutoff, or like have like a random number, so you would give a random percentage. So what we were thinking there, either like we take a random percentage as a monetization fee for privacy for these private transfers, or we just if there's a donate, especially if there's a charity Gitcoin. So we're thinking of donating the fraction cutoff to Gitcoin, for example. That way, all the links cut off with the same decimal. That way, you can't do that. So then you have probabilistic privacy, essentially.
Okay, yeah. Then, since you're off now, I will show you really quickly what I'm about to do when you're gone. Because
show me.
I do have this animation here that also circles through on top of everything, and that's basically an overview of all the networks and platforms and protocols that utilize that I need to make the fraction token work. So if you can,
what's your approach to doing these animations? This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We recently, I don't know if you saw them, but we recently paid a guy on Fiverr, I think $40 to make peanut stickers, just to see how they would look like, and we have now like these little peanut stickers.
Yeah, I already doxed my address to Conrad, so I'm just waiting.
No, but I mean, yeah, those are the stickers. But I mean, we now have the stickers. Conrad made them, but now we have the Telegram moving SVGs. Because we have two.
Oh yeah, I just saw the wave.
Yeah, exactly.
Waving stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
So
Marcus.
Yeah. So
thanks for the call.
Just what I wanted to show you is that animation, and when you're continuing to watch in there, then you can see how I integrate the peanut protocol into that loop in there, because
that'd be awesome.
It's this one here, so you can see. Whoops, really quick. I don't want to. So it builds up and then it disappears again. And these are the.
Oh, that's really cool. Is this Blender or what is this?
It's a Cinema4D.
Okay.
And that's the whole deal. So once you're gone,
that's really cool.
I'll start building that in there, and then I'll call it a day, because I'm past the 2 hours mark then, and I think that's the perfect thing to end the stream today.
That's really cool. Okay, awesome. Thanks for the chat.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and really curious about the peanut protocol and where it's heading.
Yes, hopefully in a good place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully.
Bye, Marcus.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so since now there's nobody in here anymore, I'll start some music. Okay, so let's integrate the Peanut protocol, Peanut, and so that it's part of this small animation here. So first thing, what I need to do is I need to get the path in there, and in every other thing it's called vectors, but in Cinema4D they are called splines, which are basically just vectors. And we are going to save that here, and then we say Peanutman logo from website. So open this one here, and then we are going to take a look at that in Adobe Illustrator, just to figure out if the paths are actually how we want them. Oh, there's like a lot of grouping in here. Okay. So okay. So now we have all these layers in here, and that's like this outline layer, and that's kind of good. I think we might have to do lines here, but we can do that later on in Cinema4D. So we are going to save that, and here comes the Cinema4D trick. If you save that as an Illustrator 8 file, then you can actually import the vectors as splines. So okay, save that, and now we can open this one here up. Ta-da! So now we have the Peanut Man here. Get rid of that and jump in here. And so now we turn that by 90 degrees. Okay. And now we can start getting rid of quite a lot of stuff. So we have here the mouth, and I would say it's probably enough to just have this one here, but we need to open it, and then so now it's just a line, and we don't want to have this fat mouth here. So that's Peanut Man saving. But let's save the stuff just in case. That's the mouth. And we have here the right eye, left eye. Yeah, I do think that it might be better to no, let's keep that, because I was thinking of just placing straight lines in here, like here a line, here a line, here a line, here a line, and then just having them. Actually, that's probably even the better part. maybe we should keep that. Ah, okay, interesting. They're not all the same length. Okay. Okay, so now we have the lines in here. We can get rid of these. Then that's the inner path, and we don't want the outer path. Okay. Peanut to chew. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay. So, okay, and how that animation works is there's something called the sweep element, and that basically wraps something around one spline around the other. So if you have like this line and you have a circle that you wrap around, then you get this tube, for example. And we're basically going to do exactly that. Here. So. So. Okay, so we'll build it up and then we'll leave it out, and that is then we have the other eye and the left eye. you the whole peanut. Okay. Questions, do we want to have it start here? Yeah, that sounds good. Then we have the eyes, and then we want to have these lines down here. And that's line 1, line 2, line 4, line 3, 6, and 5. So okay, now everything is done. Okay, and now let's see what happens if we use one of these in there. Okay. Back. Settings 5. That is 4. That is 5. That is 3. 6. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the eye. And let's rotate them. And that here as well for 180. Okay. Okay, the outline looks fine, I would say. And now we just need to time better this stuff here below. Okay, and now we're going to dial that one down here. Okay. Doshi. I really like it. Okay, now we need to get the inverse. So now we can take a look here, and we are going to grab the whole peanut stuff and drag it over to snapshot. Let's GnosisChain. Okay, and 2020. GnosisChain, and that's minus 15. Okay. That's 15. Okay, and we can take a look here. Okay. Yes, then we have the loop. Maximum is here. I think it's fairly fine. Okay. Save that as well. Okay. Then we can like that. Render real quick and I think so that's going to take like an hour or so to render that in the background. And yeah, let's close all of that here as well. Okay, so closing off. Okay, yeah, let's let that render and let's see what's on the to-do list for next time. So yeah, I really need to get into the GraphQL stuff. Let's just fraction deployments. I need Diddy for that. And S, that makes sense when number 4 is, and it would be nice to have some indent here as well. That's the other deployment. That's going to be a huge clusterfuck. There I need to talk with Loop. That I can do soonish. That's been done already. That I still need to do. Subpages, the menu, the responsive styles, the clip, crowdfunding, the Twitter bot. Yeah, it's still a long list, but we're gonna make it at some point, hopefully. Okay, so I think I'm gonna close the stream now. Thank you for watching, everyone who tuned in. I won't be doing streams twice a week since like last year. I'm aiming for once a week, maybe twice a month, something like that. But I will continue work in the background and then do a quick recap on the stream, what I did, and yeah, because right now I'm getting into sections where I need to do like this long refinement, or which is kind of a boring stuff, so I don't want to do that on stream. But yeah, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out in any channel. I'm always happy to answer any questions. Okay, in that case, I think I'm closing in to the end.